You're standing at New York's JFK Airport, passport in hand, exhausted after a long 15-hour flight from Delhi. The immigration officer checks your documents, types something into their computer, and suddenly their expression changes. "Sir, I'll need you to come with me." Your chest tightens. What went wrong? Which rule did you unknowingly cross? By the end of this video, you'll clearly understand what mistakes travelers often make and how you can avoid becoming another victim of America's tightening entry rules. The year 2025 has introduced big changes in how the United States handles visitors from India. And if you're planning to travel, not knowing these changes is not just careless, it could be risky. These rules are so new that even people who have been to the US many times are being surprised. Some updates have even caused friction between Washington and New Delhi. But here's the most worrying part. Out of the 13 new rules I will explain, one is so strict that thousands of Indian visitors have already been stopped at the border because of it. And the truth is, it's not the rule most people expect. The first surprising rule is something called the alien registration requirement. Before you react to the word alien, know that this is official American government language. Starting April 11, 2025, if you plan to stay in the U.S. longer than 30 days, you must complete and submit Form G325R. This is not just another small form. It is basically the U.S. building a huge and detailed record of all long-term foreign visitors from India. Think about what that means. Whether you are a student heading to MIT, a software engineer going to work at Meta, or a parent visiting relatives in Seattle, the U.S. authorities want your complete profile before you board your flight. They ask for your work history, information about family members, financial details, and much more. If you skip this, your visa is basically useless. It will just be an expensive sticker in your passport, and this is only the beginning. The second change affects even simple domestic flights inside America. Real ID compliance has become compulsory for air travel within the country. This is where many Indian travelers get confused. If you're planning to fly from New York to San Francisco, just showing your Indian passport may no longer be enough. For flights inside the U.S., you must carry identification that meets federal Real ID standards. This means millions of Indian visitors who thought their normal passport or driver's license would work may face problems. The U.S. government's message is simple. We don't care what is valid in your country. In our country, you follow our standards. Imagine planning a cross-country trip and then being stuck in Chicago because your ID doesn't qualify. Your whole holiday or work plan could collapse in seconds. The third change is already causing issues at Indian consulates. From May 1, 2025, every visa application from India must include a new form called DS-1164. At first glance, it seems like just another requirement, but it's actually a long 20-page online questionnaire filled with very personal questions. So detailed that many are wondering if going to the US is worth all this trouble. It asks about your online presence, your social media accounts, your complete travel history for the last 15 years, and even a list of family members with names, jobs, and addresses. And here is the danger. If even one detail does not match something else in their system, your case is flagged for extra review. That means months of waiting with no guarantee of approval. One small mistake can ruin your travel plans. The fourth rule targets people with dual citizenship and has made life especially difficult for them. If you are an Indian citizen who also holds another nationality that the U.S. sees as sensitive, you will be treated with suspicion until you prove otherwise. This has especially affected many Indian Americans who kept their Indian passport while becoming citizens of Canada or European countries. Now, U.S. officers treat such travelers like high-risk cases. Many report being stuck in questioning for hours, asked to explain every single stamp in their two passports. The fifth change feels like something futuristic, but it is already happening. Pre-clearance facilities are expanding, and India is part of the pilot program. This means you could end up doing your American immigration and customs checks at an Indian airport before you even board. In the long run, this might save time, but right now it means tougher checks before departure. Imagine American border officers sitting in Mumbai or Delhi with full power to deny your entry before you've even stepped on the plane. This has raised concerns about India's sovereignty, but the system is moving forward anyway. The sixth update hits where people feel most exposed: their personal devices. Searches of phones, laptops, tablets, and even smartwatches are no longer rare. They're normal. Officers can ask for your passwords, read your chats, check your apps, look at your photos, and even copy your data. What most people don't realize is that once you unlock your device, everything becomes open to inspection. This means your bank apps, private conversations, work emails, and personal pictures. Some Indian travelers have shared stories of officers scrolling through years of WhatsApp chats, demanding explanations about simple jokes or old comments, sometimes interpreting them in troubling ways. The seventh rule confuses many. Even though some U.S. states have legalized cannabis, federal law still bans it. This often traps Indian visitors. Imagine you land in Colorado, where marijuana is legal. You stay with friends who use it at home. You don't touch it, but small traces end up in your clothes or bag. Later, when you pass through a federal checkpoint in another state, those traces are detected. Suddenly, you face federal charges even though you never used it. Under federal law, even the smallest amount is considered a crime, no matter what state law says. More Indian travelers are getting caught in this confusing clash between state and federal rules. The eighth change may be the strictest. Any past visa overstay, or even a minor criminal offense, can now get you pulled into secondary screening or straight-out denied entry. The harsh part is that this rule is retroactive. That unpaid traffic ticket from 2017 in New Jersey could now count against you. That time you overstayed by a few days because of a medical emergency could now be treated as a violation. Immigration systems are much stronger now, and officers instantly see your past records. If you ever worked without permission on a tourist visa or ignored an old fine, it can come back to block you. What once looked like a small issue can now stop your chances of visiting America forever. The ninth change adds another layer at airports. The TSA has strengthened its behavioral detection program. This is not the usual bag check. These are specially trained officers studying your movements, your tone, your stress levels, and even your heartbeat. Advanced systems now scan facial expressions and reactions. Many Indian travelers say they were stopped and questioned in ways that felt more like police interrogation than travel screening. Officers may ask simple questions like, "Why are you here?" but analyze every pause, every look, and every reaction, turning it into a psychological test. The 10th change is something most people don't expect. Social media is now part of the screening process. Officers can ask for your accounts, check your posts, read comments, and even judge who you associate with online. A harmless political comment, a joke about airport security, or even following the wrong social media account could raise red flags in the U.S. system. More travelers are realizing that their online activity is being treated almost like an official record when entering America. Officials now often check social media not only to look for possible risks, but also to confirm or challenge the details you put in your application. That Instagram story you posted during a casual job search while on a tourist visa, that old tweet where you criticized American foreign policy, or even a meme you once shared making fun of U.S. politics can all be pulled up. Immigration officers compare your online activity with the information in your forms. Any mismatch, even if small or taken out of context, can become a reason for rejection or deeper questioning. Some visitors didn't even know they had been tagged by friends in political posts, but still had to explain them during tough interviews. These are not rumors. These checks are real and happening now. And to make things tougher, artificial intelligence systems are now being used to go through years of your online history. Your posts are cross-checked with visa applications, past trips, and digital records. Some people have been refused entry for things they wrote years ago, sometimes posts they don't even remember. Something you once said in college, a joke, or a harmless meme can suddenly look suspicious. It doesn't matter if it was sarcasm. Once the system flags it, you're the one who pays the price. Rule 11 takes this to another level by focusing on your finances. It's not just about showing a few bank statements anymore. The US now uses advanced financial tracking systems that look at where your money comes from, how you spend it, and even your financial links to other people. They want to see if your story matches your money trail. If you claim you're visiting as a tourist, but your spending suggests business, you are flagged. If there are large deposits or unexplained transfers, you are pulled in for questioning. In short, the US is carrying out full financial background checks on almost every traveler. Many Indian visitors are realizing the American idea of financial transparency is far stricter than what they expect, especially when it comes to privacy. If you've stayed with me this far, it shows you understand how serious these updates are. But what comes next is even more worrying. Rule 12 requires detailed health records. It's not only about COVID or basic vaccination anymore. Now they ask for full medical history, including mental health conditions, prescription medicines, and long-term illnesses. The focus is not just on preventing diseases from entering the country, but on whether you could become a burden on the healthcare system or fail to meet the purpose of your trip. Indian visitors with diabetes, heart conditions, ongoing mental health treatment, or dependence on prescription drugs are now facing stricter checks. In some cases, people are even being denied entry. The 13th and final rule is the most secretive and perhaps the most alarming. Immigration officers are now using algorithm-based risk assessment systems. These systems run predictive models that process hundreds of factors you may not even think about. Your travel history, background, online activity, financial patterns, and even your social connections all combine into a risk score. If your score goes beyond a certain limit, you're flagged for more checks and often denied entry. The scary part is, you will never know your score. You won't know what detail hurt you. There is no way to appeal, explain, or challenge the system. It is like being judged by a black box that you cannot see, cannot question, and cannot control. This makes the process more unpredictable and stressful than ever before. But these rules are not just about borders. They are part of a much bigger shift in how the US controls global movement. The message is very clear. Visiting America is no longer a simple process. It's now treated as a privilege with many layers of checks. For Indians, the easy and relaxed approach to US travel that worked for years no longer applies. Every document must be correct, every detail must match across forms, interviews, and even your online profiles. Your digital presence has to be consistent and free from contradictions. The system leaves no space for errors, casual answers, or overlooked details. What makes it more difficult is how fast these changes are being put into action. Many travelers are unprepared because the rules are often applied retroactively. Immigration lawyers are already reporting cases where people with valid visas, approved just a few months ago, are being turned away at the airport because new standards were applied to old applications. And it's not just tourists being affected. Students, workers, and families are all facing the consequences. Indian companies are delaying projects in the US, students are rethinking their plans for higher studies, families are postponing reunions they've waited for years. The human cost of these rules is rising quickly. The most frustrating part is that many of these rules are not officially published in law or clear travel advisories. Instead, they are carried out quietly through internal memos and changes in procedure. Most travelers only find out about them when they are suddenly asked for extra proof during a visa interview or pulled aside at customs. That's why the best preparation now is to assume maximum checks at every stage, before you apply, while you travel, and even after you land. Every claim must be supported with evidence. Every detail must remain consistent across documents, interviews, and online. And you must remember, the rules can change even after your visa is stamped and your ticket is booked. The United States is still a land of opportunity, But the road to those opportunities now comes with more challenges than ever. Entering the U.S. today is not just about travel, it has become a test of accuracy and compliance. The 13 rules explained here are not the end. Experts believe even stricter systems are on the way. The real question is no longer whether visiting America is worth it. The question is whether you are ready to face a system that is more complex, more intrusive, and far less forgiving. In 2025, the choice to travel is still yours, but it's no longer casual. It must be made with full awareness of the difficulties ahead. For Indian travelers, knowledge is not just helpful, it is the strongest defense in a process designed to test you at every step.